because I'm that confident in him. So two things we always try and do for these speakers. One, show them some love and help them any way that you can. If you have testimonials, this is part of our proof in helping the people get, hey, have you spoken before? Yes, I have. Here's some testimonials. That's why we do this. And the other thing is, if you can think of opportunities, these are the people we want to support. Support those that are support here. I referred 4 people from the last Business Speakers Network to speak in the last 2 months. Okay, so we are getting people out there speaking, and we want to do that. So, round of applause for Tom. Thank you. All right, so up next is going to be Mark. I'm going to change the PowerPoint real quick while we have Mark's introduction, and I will give you this so you know what you're doing. And Jack, if you'd like to give a round of applause for Jack.
I met Mark, probably about 4 months ago when I first went out and met some fantastic people. Learned a little bit about talking to people. And Mark comes to us from Roseville. He has worked for the Department of Water Resources for 23 years. He's been involved in Toastmasters for 13 years. And he's served in a number of positions, the area governor, club president, and also the club advisor. But Mark's most valuable speaking accomplishment is becoming a Make It Count speaker. And that's a speaking group that speaks to high school students and expresses how important their education is to them. Mark's purpose in life is to give a gift to others to find their gift. He's passionate, focused, and interested in making a difference in the lives of others. Please join me in welcoming Mark Thompson.
Right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Before I get going tonight, I have to first and foremost thank Mr. Brian Sharp for just giving me the opportunity. If we can give him a round of applause. This man trusted me to give me this opportunity, and I'm truly thankful for that opportunity. So, Brian, thank you very much. Repeat after me. I must seize every opportunity to grow. And that's what it's about. This business network meeting, speaker meeting that we have, it's about growing, and it's also about the opportunity. This is what opportunity is about. I want you to look around in the room for a quick minute. This is what opportunity looks like. And as business owners, we are trying to take our business to that next level as speakers and as business owners. And this forum will be integral in taking you to that next level. So let's seize this moment as far as an opportunity to take it to the next level. And I have a question for you. How many of you go to see speakers on a regular basis? Whether that's a motivational speakers. Now, I have a question. What one quality, I'm going to ask this question, what one quality do you admire about those speakers? And I'm just going to raise, if you can raise your hand, and I'll get the ball rolling here. Let's say maybe this person has charisma. What one quality in one word do these speakers have? I'm going to go around the room. Just raise your hand. Yes?
Authenticity.
Authenticity. Excellent. Anybody else?
Clarity.
Clarity. Excellent.
Passion.
Thank you very much. Passion. It's about passion, definitely. Connection, exactly. Well, I also believe that as speakers, we have those skills as well, but we want to make our talks indelible, where they don't forget your talk. And that's what my goal is here tonight. I had an experience in Toastmasters. When I first joined Toastmasters, I'd been in the club for about 2 months. And, you know, I'm getting into that Toastmasters thing. We've all been there. How many Toastmasters do we have here? Wonderful. So we can all relate to that. So I've been at this club for about 2 weeks. And I met this young lady. Her name was Nancy. And Nancy was getting ready to do her icebreaker speech. And we got to talking, and she was really excited about doing her icebreaker speech. Now, for those of you that are not Toastmasters, the icebreaker speech is kind of the first talk that you do in Toastmasters. So the following week, Nancy was doing her icebreaker speech. So the next week finally arrived. Nancy was the second speaker for the day. So the first speaker got up there. He had his opening, his body, his conclusion. He was a great speaker. He was an experienced speaker. And then he moved off the stage to give Nancy her opportunity. Nancy got to the lectern, and she opened up with a statement. It said, 30% of women that are married are in abusive relationships. That got everybody thinking, like, wow, that's pretty powerful. But then at that point, her talk started to erode. She lost her place. She lost everything that was going on. She didn't know what to do. Her papers fell on the floor, and she's picking up her papers. And at that point, Nancy was just frustrated. So she stacked her papers up on the table, and she said, I was in an abusive relationship for 12 years. And one night, I had enough. So I packed my bag, got my 2 children, and left, and went to an emergency shelter with WEAVE, Women Escaping a Violent Environment. And she lived there. And she stayed there for a couple of weeks. And she began to notice and get to know other women in that group. And what she noticed was that these other women were afraid to speak up to their abuser. They were afraid as she was. So Nancy wanted to join Toastmasters so she could teach these women to speak up against their abuser. Nancy went on and finished her speech. But I never forgot that. How do we make our talks indelible? How do we make have our talks make an indelible mark on people? I'm going to talk about 4 things that I believe that we need to do as speakers so people don't forget our talk and that they're indelible. When I say indelible, I mean not easily erased. You cannot forget. Anybody have a song in your head that you just can't get out of your head? The first step, it's M. Make yourself vulnerable as a speaker. Now, it's easy to come up to the lectern and start talking about all this information and make the assumption that I haven't had any problems and I'm coming up here perfect. Not at all. Nancy was willing to expose that she was abused and in an abusive relationship. Let's say, for instance, you are a real estate agent and you're talking to a group of first-time home buyers. It's okay to disclose that, well, when I bought my first house 20 years ago, I had credit problems too. Be vulnerable and transparent. Now, I'll tell you what that does. It gives you credibility. It gives you trust that you can admit that information. And that pulls your audience into your talk. A, an indelible mark. Acquire the audience's attention very quickly. Now, we all walk in here with things on our mind, what we have to do after the meeting tonight, what we have to do at work tomorrow, what we have to do this weekend. We all have things to do. We all have things on our mind. But we need to grab our audience's attention quickly. Now, you can do this by having them say something, a command, like I did earlier, that grabs their attention. Nancy started off with a shocking statement that grabs everybody's attention. And we must keep that attention so we can convey the point that we need to convey to our audience. Critical that we keep that attention. R, an indelible mark. Rehearse, but to a point. I know we have Toastmasters in here, and I know in 2009 I competed in District 39 international competition. And I practiced that speech 15 times a day, 2 weeks out. I'm winding that thing up so tight that, oh my goodness, it couldn't breathe. I lost. Because the talk didn't have any personality. It was only about the words and not about the message. It's about the message. That is what's critical. It's your message across. So rehearse to a point and allow your personality to shine through, because as Toastmasters, we think of speaking and impromptu as two different things, but they're not. Our talks have to incorporate both to be effective and to connect to our audience. Last but not least, K. Know your intention before you get up here. What do you want the audience to leave with? Do you want them to be motivated? Do you want them to do something? What is your intention? Nancy's intention was to benefit these women at this shelter, so that wouldn't happen again. And she brought that to her talk. What are your intentions as a speaker? And you need to know, I'll put it to you like this, how Kevin Bracey put it. What is your why? Why are you telling me this information? Don't just tell me something. What is your reason for telling me that? And that'll give you some clue as to your intention. Recap those 4 points again. Don't be afraid to make yourself vulnerable in your talks, because that is what is going to connect to your audience. Grab the audience's attention quickly and hold on for dear life. Hold on. Rehearse to a point. Allow your personality to come out. That's what it's about. Your personality, it's your story. Allow that to come out. And know your intention. I talked to Nancy after the talk that night. And keep in mind, this talk was 13 years ago. I didn't forget it. And I think about it today. Nancy, at that moment she dropped all those papers, she was ready to leave. She was ready to pack it up and go. But she fought through. Keep this in mind. When everything goes right, we can have an indelible mark on our audience. But when things go wrong, when you bring out your personality, things can also go well, even if things feel as though they went wrong. So keep these tips in mind when you do your next talk. My name is Mark Thompson, known as the Indelible Mark, reminding you that every day is a day to make your mark in life.
All right. All right. Well done. Now,